With that being done, the next two presentations are new work being done on variety selections, promising new selections. Dr. Chen with USDA ARS out of BYRON, Georgia, is going to speak on some of the new selections that he has. I appreciate you being here, Dr. Chen. I'll pull you up right now.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year's. I'm really appreciate Andy and they want to invite me to talk about our recent and upcoming releases. You know, the peach breeding is a long process. It's take a long time and a lot of problems. When I get the job 9 years ago, I was really excited. But right now, I kind of I'm way more pressure than the year I got this job. You know, I found that the peach have a lot of problems. It's probably one of the most difficult tree crop because I work on the several tree crop. That's why probably I think the most difficult from all kind of problem. The number one problem I found is the crop reliability is really low. You know, you can fluctuate year from year. 1 year you have 100% production, and next year probably have like 0%. So that's a kind of, for the peach breeders, face a lot of a problem. Of course, diseases are the problem too. Today I'm going to talk about the recent release from the USDA program, and there's 2 pending release and some new in the pipeline. Okay, that's just the outline for my talk. I still give the first slide about 2 hours at BYRON, Georgia, just to project what CHIO can get for this year's on the February 15th. And we always give a briefing for the peach breeding program at BYRON and what the ongoing consideration for the breeding. The next is going to have released 3 cultivars in 2019. Right now, it's already in commercial production right now. And 2 pending release are probably going to get out this year. And probably 3 more upcoming release. Okay, that's just basically the Georgia weather data. So you can see that from 2014 to this year. And it's just based on the data I have in my Excel sheet and just predict the way it's going to be. I think on the January 31st, it probably go somewhere, let me say, somewhere about 700 and it goes February 15th about 900 for this year. So even this year I have a very, very extremely cold year, but we do have a lot of warm days compared to the extremely cold days. So just to give a kind of information, you maybe think about how you manage the peach regarding the CHIO requirement. This slide probably you see multiple times. Anyway, I just always put it on our talk just to show our USDA's commitment to our industry. So this program has been existing over 8 years. We have two portions. One is the variety which I'm working on, and also we have the rootstock breeding program. Right now is a vacancy, so we're still waiting to get the field for the rootstock portion. After Dr. Bakeman and the new scientists left after years. Anyway, this program right now, we have a lot of varieties in the old time, but right now, most variety used in the Southeast is the Prince series. I'm started a new series for the Joy series. So that's just a basic characteristic. I saw the minimums for the Southeast shipping industries. Of course, our industry is the shipping industry, so we have a lot to think about it. And we're focused on one particular type of peaches, yellow flushed acid peach. For example, I have a lot of low acid peach, but I will never release a single for this kind of peach because the industry don't need it. Same as the white peaches. Of course, we need a good firmness and slow melting. So we need the time to get it to for the packing, shelving, and to the store for the consumer to buy it. Size must size well with high potential. And a high ratio of the marketable fruit under the optimal management. Because I found the peach fruit is very variable on the trees. Some variety you can say the half the fruit is not a marketable size or appearance. So that's probably one kind of emphasize for my program. I tried to choose selection, have a high ratio of the marketable fruit. So when you sell fruit, that fruit can sell. I already mentioned that the crop reliabilities. So that's why I also pay real attention in the past years just to see how these selections performed over the years and all in the different trial and the different management. And also for the later season, we always preferred the freestone. Our peach general all look, you can see all the look is very red. And have a little bit of yellow background, and it's in our area, chill about like 650 to like 1150. Basically, because we cannot check all the disease situations, so we try to give a general healthy evaluation over the years, like 15 years. This tree has been kind of healthy on the different location and the different trials. So of course, we also pay attention to a particular disease like a bacterial spot, because this is one of the major diseases the industries want to have good resistance or tolerance there. So besides this minimal or basic requirement for this cultivar, we always think about the future. For some very special, I already mentioned the cropping reliability. So the spring freeze is one of the big factor for all the production in southeast areas, in Georgia, in South Carolina, and also right now, because we said that breeding is a long-term process, we need to think about futures. So I think that one of the future is orchard automation. That's sure for the trend for all fruit crop, including tree crop or the berries, everything right now towards that directions. So right now I'm paying attention to some trait maybe benefit for the future peach automations. And of course I'm continuing expanding the early and later harvest time. So today I'm going to talk about the two cultivar patent release is getting much earlier for the peach production. And that's just general. We still need fill some gap which there don't have a good cultivar there, like in the harvest season, gala season. So that's the future. The next three release I'm going to try to fill that gaps. I do think about this specialty type. I said I have a lot of good low acid peach. It's really pretty, you know. So I probably just release 2 or 3, let you guys try. So this is the 5 recent release. There's 3, and the 2 pending release right now. I'm going to give more detail in the next few slides. So that's one, Crimson Joy, which is in the harvest season, and this one is Libra Joy. It's very close to Blaze Prince, and this Rich Joy is in the Sun Prince time, and this one is a real early one. It's a May Joy, so that's just about more than a week ahead of the flavor range, and then the next one is okay, this is a little side story I give you. This one, I do have a name called Flavor Joy, Unfortunately, okay, I'll probably just talk later. Okay, right now to change the name, I have to change the name to Cardinal Joy, because that name I've used by when I try to search a name, I just used recently, very recently. I'm going to first talk about Rich Joy. So this one just a typical the peach you guys have. It's about 850 hours, and ripened with early August, 2 weeks before the flame prints. Have a very good flesh, and mutant, freestone, and very firm. This one I think I would emphasize in the blue. It's crop and size very well. So generally the fruit size don't have always very uniform. So when set of fruit, if you don't need thinning, it's still uniformly. And also the quality is very high. That's probably the one of the highest peach. It's a similar quality as the Scalar Prince. And also, they don't have a tip like other cultivar when the chill not certified enough. So this one also in round type. And they do have a slight premium to searchers. So that kind of is a character. If you see the piece there like this, that's probably the Rich Joy. Of course, as you know that when your chill is not certified, they will not crop because it's a high chill peaches. So you can see that this is just a regular picture every year like this. The fruit are almost every tree like this. They don't have a kind of a small fruit on the trees. They're all kind of on the uniform side. So that's just kind of some data compare with Rich Joy, Crimson Heaven, and early August Prince at BYRON. I think the data are pretty small. I will just point at the average here. You can see here that's the Rich Joy. That's the average of the set, which is the fruit set, is a 6, and their blush is like a 7.7, and their size is what's going on there? I think this key probably just connect to each other. So the size are actually they are very similar to among these three cultivars that we compared, but see the blush is a much higher blush compared to Crimson Heaven and early August Prince, and also the crop fruit set are also higher than them during the test years. So this one should be very, very good ones for the same harvest season. And I put one information here so in case there's people audience have interested to propagate these varieties. So you should contact the license of USDA.gov. They can get the process. So Liberal Joy, actually, there's just in the season, which Blaze Prince produced. But why I released this one is one major reason because its chill is 60-50. So this cropped in the 2017, which we don't have enough chill. And they also crop very well when the year have the freeze. So there's probably particular cultivars in my collections show sort of promise in there. They do have a germplasm can sustain some kind of freeze. Most cultivar in this harvest window is 850s. So that's the only one right now is the chill is 650s. So it's just added a kind of a mixture of your variety options. And this one too, you can see it's very red, almost full plug. a little bit yellow somewhere. And it's a freestone, crop very well. I just put the blue font set. It said both years which have 2015 had a very bad freeze, and 2017 we don't have enough chill. I do have some kind of thing we just let you know. So when the lower chill accumulation can shift a ripening date relative to red globe. So when they have higher chills, they can turn to like a ripening earlier. And also their shape is a little bit, you see they're a little bit elongated on the tip side when the chill is not enough. But this one also don't have a very small fruit on the trees. Generally, fruit is pretty uniform across the years we evaluated. And the next slide will just show how this particular varieties, the crop reliabilities there are. So you know the 650 is generally very risky in Georgia and South Carolina production. So that's you can see the average is all the peaches during those years, and you see the 2015's the average setting only 2.6, and it's all the 650 is only 1.3. Generally, that's low. One means just 10% of your full productions. And the same when we go to 2017, and you see that all the peaches is average about 3.5 because most of the high chill didn't set fruit on that year. And of course, the 650 set fruit that year is very well, so it's about 6.3 in average. And you can see here, this particular cultivars, they all set fruit during those years. So all yield averages for this particular cultivars is 5.4, and this one is for all the peaches in my collections 5.7, and this one is 3.3. So that's for all the 650s is very high risk at BYRON. Generally, it's almost you cannot see reliable production there. So the data come from all my advanced selections. So just to give not means a cultivar or something, just my selections. So this one is in the harvest season. I think this one has been in production for a while in the industry. This one I released is because there's a 700 chill requirement. So generally you can set in the low chill year or in the high chill years. And almost full blush, also freestone, and very firm. Crop pretty well, but it's all the crops these two particular years, which is a very poor production in the BYRON and in Georgia. And this one particularly have all tried overcropped, overset of fruit, so it need more thinnings to get the size. So the fruit probably on like a medium size rather than larger size. And the same as the issue of the Liberty Joy, they also have elongated tip when the year's chill is not enough. So let's just compare the cultivar just regular. So we do all this stuff comparison to Gila, which Gila is the yellows, sorry. Gila, and there's red is Cream Joy, and the green is Harvester and the Red Heavens. So you can see this one, generally most of them don't have significant amount of four cultivars. Like size, set, they're quite similar, but the red is way more red compared Gila and the Harvester and the Red Heaven. So also a little bit firm. So that's probably, I just released them. So I just talk about the tolerance to the freeze. Here I found the freeze is common almost every year, right? Just different severities. Some years really bad, I can wipe out all the crop. Some years are beneficial because it serves as a thinnings. especially for my program, we don't have power to thinning. So sometimes I have a little bit freeze. It's do a little bit beneficial to thinning the fruit and get the fruit size well. So that's the data we collected in 2015. So you can see that years when the freeze hit, most of them, almost like probably, I don't know exact percentage, probably like 8% of the tree like this. So all the fruitlet, which is occurred in March 29, is very late. And you do see that some survive very well. We cut this fruit, the embryo is still intact. And you see that in the end of years, some trees with a lot of buttons, which is the embryo all dead. I'll show the next slide. And you do see that some of this stuff survived, and the fruit just stayed normal in the same location. And that's the details. When we look at this fruit, there's two kinds of fruit. There's a normal size fruit, but with the skin all damaged. Of course, they don't have any commercial value. We look at the embryo, is still good. But those small, we call it buttons. The major issue is embryo all killed, is aborted. That's just enlarge these pictures. You can see here all the embryos is black. But it's very interesting, their pit still hardens. The pit still continues to harden like a normal fruit. The only issue is I check the literature because the fruit enlarge the size depends on the embryo pump the hormones. So embryo dead, so there's no hormone to pump to the fruit, so fruit stops size. So just answer at least one question is why this fruit didn't grow but still matures, because the embryos don't send any hormone to the plants and it just nutrient the fruit. But we do see this, the skin damaged fruit is still normal size. And we do have a population, however, I'll show you there that, oh, okay. We look at our selection of cultivars, which some has buttons, some don't have buttons. And we do find that the tree with no or few buttons or the blaze prints pedigrees, all of them have the background of the blaze prints. Not all, sorry, some of them. I collect this. And the same on this side, we find is that most of those stuff have the norine in their pedigrees. So that's just based on what I look at the pedigree information, and have this kind of. So that's just implied this button issues. It is genetic controlled. Even it's very difficult to study because you cannot create this a climate condition in a controlled environment to set up when you can produce how many buttons. So that's but based on the pedigree information, we believe there's still kind of a genetic controls. So that's the two patent release I'm going to talk about. So this one we ordered named called Cardinal Joy. Why you release this one? I think this one is the major reason is because of the size very well, the early variety, and also it's a chill requirement at 850s. So it bloom much later compared to our current commercial variety we have. Is majorly produced in Georgia and in this other state is flavor rich and a car red and the spring prints, also 650s. So this one also, like other peaches, is full blushed and also yellow flesh. You can see that on the trees, the fruit is pretty uniform. So, and from years which I evaluate plus Dr. Oki evaluate, we don't see much button there. The only issue is similar as like Lip's Joy. So when the ears chew a lot enough, they turn to have a little bit like a tip side. So I think that's the way we. And of course, the similar as the others high chew of cultivars. So when you don't have enough chew, they will not set fruit. So I just give the highlight when I released said this one is very reliable, higher chews, early ripening cultivars season, which can cropping better as compared to other standard early varieties. So this one is called Mayjoy. This one is just a typical early one. It's a 650. So it always have a problem with this problem with spring freeze. So in the year with a severe freeze, probably you have a high risk you will lose the crop. But I released this one because they about a week before the flavor reach. So the fruit is very round. They don't have that tip issue when the chew the problem. So they're always round. And also it's a full blotch. I compare it to, it's another issue like the Crimson Joy. It's all the turn to overcrop when the weather is favorite. So you have to vigorously remove the thinning the fruit to get a size. I guess it's still there. Sorry. Okay, let's just compare the size, set, and blush, and track list with flavor rich and carrot, which are the two major commercial products. They all low statistical significance there, so it looks similar. Right now, I do focus on some candidate for the Gila and the harvest season. So those four highlighted with yellow highlight selections, I think I'm going to release, and they're all especially this one is look like a rich joy. It's very reliable. The size are all very uniform over the years. So this one probably the best of these four. So anyway, I have a lot of data, but I probably will not talk about it right now. I'm going to put the disclosure this year, and let the agency to make a decision is going to allow to release or not. But I feel those four should be very good addition to the cultivar, which in the Gila and the harvest seasons. And I guess I'll just stop here. And of course, I appreciate all the support from USDA licensing programs, and the Georgia agricultural community, and the Georgia Peach Council, and the Southeast peach industry. Without their help, this program will not existed. I'm happy to take any questions.
We do have time for questions. If anybody has any, please just try to speak up so everybody can hear. For Dr. Chen.
For the harvester season, you have four that you're going to release. Are some high chill and low chill, so the grower can make a decision on risk? For four new releases in a narrow 1 week season, there must be differences between them.
Okay, actually, those the one is the best one I mentioned. The first one, that one is typical, the 850s, and the.
Why release the other three then? Was the other three different chilling?
But the outside is about 1 week later.
1 week later.
1 week later. The first column is in the early June. The other one in the mid-late June. Yeah.
What about nectarines?
Okay.
I know, I mean, why I'm asking is I know Dr. Oki's germplasm, so there were some great ones. And so are you considering releasing some of those?
Okay, I am going to be honest too. I look at over the year, I do want some good nectarines perform consistent. Unfortunately, no such a thing in Georgia. I do have a lot of good selection performing 1 year very good. It's just very excited, and next year they just cracked to hills. Almost every single fruit cracked. That's not a joke. It's really not a joke. And so that's probably the number one issue for the nectarine in Georgia. They never have like a consecutive 2 years perform. They generally 1 year. I do have one probably release for you guys as a germplasm. It's our peach size, like this size. Tastes like a lot of tastes like a peach, not a nectarines. So that one has been I've been looking for over the last 10 years. It's very reliable in size, and the uniform size means always like I would say 70, nearly 70 or 66 to 70, 72, like this is range. So that one is the only one I think about can release as a germplasm, not very for production anyway. So I do think about it, just add a little bit. I hope I have time. Yeah, I have time. Yeah.
Any flat peaches? Pea tubes?
That's all the same issues. What the issue is the open. Even I have a selection is close to the what it says the stem or plum side. Yeah, but let me say big but. They're not reliable. The same as nectarines. The 1 year they perform gorgeously, just said, oh, you're going to release this one. The next year you find that their infection rate just too high to. So when I talk about reliabilities, that's just out. Yeah, I do have selections.
But you're going to release some white flesh though peaches, right?
I do want to do. Yeah, I do going to release that one and the low acid peach. Those I have probably 5 or 6 low acid. You never see the peach beautiful as beautiful as those peaches, and as reliable as those peaches. You probably know that the low acid peach turn to crop more reliably and more uniformly compared to this yellow acid peach. This I noticed during my careers. They always try to. That's my explanation is there, because this low acid peach probably take more energy to synthesize the acid or the flavor, but the low acid peach, because they're focused on the size and this thing, that's my guess.
But you have regular acid white flesh peaches too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. But I try not to mess up with. If I release, I probably release a low acid white peach. Why? Because I think I talked to Will. I think the guy who marketing for the Pearson farm. The marketing side, they do want the peach more distinguishables from each others. So they want particular like a yellow acid. Probably they want like a low acid white peach rather than a low acid or acid white peach on the market.
Any last question before we move on for Dr. Chen? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a small gift for you. Hold on, you can't leave yet. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. Appreciate you. If we could thank him.